My name is Sandy Altna, and I work at Dordt College. I'm the Director of Residence Life, and I worked there for about 12 years.
And my name is Dan Altna, Sandy's husband. I have worked in law enforcement for about 28 years now. I'm currently the Sioux County Sheriff. I actually came back from a SERV project out in New York, I think it was, and was really touched by a lot of the poverty going on out there and a lot of the needs, and came back and shared with Sandy that I thought we should have foster kids, and she wasn't into that idea at all. And I think it was several months later she came up with the thought and idea that we should adopt.
We got a call from our social worker, maybe after almost 2 years into the process, I think it took a long time, that they had a pair of twins from India, and they were babies. We're not really into the sibling group, and I don't think we want to do an Indian adoption because that's a fairly hard country to adopt from. And she said, man, this is high need, and we really wish you'd consider that. So we did, and we prayed about it, and we called our social worker back and said, okay, we're open to the idea. They have a process that they go through that they approve the family that makes application. And so that decision went to that particular board, and after all of that they decided no, we weren't a family. So we were actually pretty heartbroken and actually grieved quite a bit because we had thought these were our kids, we were going to do this. Probably within a week got another call from our social worker, and she said, wow, we have another sibling pair from India. We again prayed about it, and a little bit of angst. We said, we don't have enough money, our house is too small, family's too big, we're too old, every possible excuse. But decided that was where we were called. So we decided that we were both going to go, and did the preparations for that. Paperwork was unbelievable. You get through that, and you get all the paperwork done, and you finally send it off, and you get it off to India, and then you wait. And that's terribly difficult. Because you know these kids are there, you know that they've got health needs, you know that they need a family. You're excited about it, and yet there's not a thing you can do. You just sit there and wait. And we finally got word that we could travel. So we flew into, we stopped in Bangkok, and then we went into Mumbai, and then we flew from there to Pune, which is the orphanage where the kids were at. We drove by the orphanage without stopping the first day, and the second day we went, and we actually went into the orphanage and we visited the kids, met them for the first time. You kind of look around and you know what the pictures look like, but you're not really sure that that's your child. And you're looking at all these little Indian kids and you're kind of thinking, I think that's him. And then it's finally like someone introduces him, and Sam stood up, and it's like, okay, that's ours. And Dan picked up Kata when we first walked in, and she was really affectionate. Just really hugged him and did a lot of face stroking, and it's pretty special. Then we took a tour of the orphanage. The kids had been sleeping together, and at that time they were 2 and 5 years old, but they had been sleeping together in sort of a cage. And there's a padlock on the top, and a lot of kids that are crawling along the floor, and there's urine on the floor. And the caretakers there were really loving, but there weren't nearly enough of them. And it was hard. It was hard to see that this is where our kids had grown up and that this is where they were right now. And on the other hand, it really felt like, this is what we were supposed to do. I'm not sure that anything in my life has shaped me as much as our adoptions have, because it requires so much faith. You absolutely have to surrender. I remember with Nikki, I was like, we're getting a 5-year-old girl, I'm not going back to an infant. And then, okay, stop, and you gotta pray, and you say, oh, Lord, I don't want a baby. Is that what you're calling us to do? And the second I say, okay, baby, totally surrender that, we get a phone call, and now they have an 18-month, which is perfect, right? But I had to get to the point of, are you willing to give all of your demands and all of your expectations up? And for somebody who's intense and I can do my own life, that's quite a lesson to learn.
Somebody asked me once, if you had to go back and do it all over again, what would you do? And we've talked about this, and I think the scary thing is if we'd go back and do it over again, not only would we adopt these, we'd probably adopt a couple more. Sometimes I don't even know if we're done now. We're 48 years old, almost 49, and it's gotten to the point where 1, 2, 3 more really doesn't make a lot of difference. One thing that was really a very valuable thing to us that was told to us is you go one step at a time. If this door opens up, go through that door. If this one opens up, go through that door. And realize that it may close like it did with those twins from India. To just say, okay, Lord, we're going to follow. We don't know, maybe you're not going to bring this child to our family, but we're going to just go until the doors either continue to open up all the way or shut.
The other thing that I would add to everything that Dan said is have faith and be patient, because you're going to have to wait, and it's going to be frustrating, and there are going to be times that you're not going to know that you can do it, but if you don't have patience, it's going to be really
Patience
hard.
is huge.
Patience is a really big quality that you're going to need in the adoption process. But then I would say too, all right, go for it. If the Lord is leading you, go for it. Live it radically. Just go.